Welcome to another edition of Coffee Break Sports. I am your sports barista, Rant the Magnificent, back with an episode of Picks. Excuse my voice for this particular episode. I'm a little bit under the weather, but we got to get through this some kind of way. Week 11 is here. I got to keep the consistency going with my weekly picks. If you want to know how I did with last week's picks, I went 9-5. And I really came close to not having a good record, to be honest with you. I had a couple of close calls, most notably the Kansas City game. I lost another close one with the Lions game, but I'll get more into that later on as I go from team to team. Enough of me rambling. You're here for one reason only. You're here for the picks. So like, share with a loved one, because I'm sure they will all love to hear this. And now we're going to get into it with our first matchup on Thursday night. Last week we had a very good thriller of a game for Thursday night, and usually the Thursday night games are stinkers, but we have another good one for you with the Washington Commanders on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. This is going to be a good matchup, ladies and gentlemen. You got Jaden Daniels, the up-and-coming Jaden Daniels, going up against Jalen Hurts. And it looks like the Eagles are getting their mojo back. They're looking like the Eagles from 2 years ago, looking a little bit more unstoppable. It looks like Saquon Barkley has gotten more and more comfortable with each game after a rocky start to the beginning of the season. He's playing very well. And I think with the Eagles being at home and Washington coming off a heartbreaking loss last week to the Steelers, I think that I'll take the Eagles in this one. I still not sold on the Washington Commanders. I think they're exciting, up-and-coming team, and there is a possibility they could make the playoffs, but I just think the Eagles are just a tougher team. I think they got a lock on this division. I think they've gotten it together. They've chosen the right time to get it together, and I think they go on and win this one. They are a 3.5-point favorite. Now to the Sunday afternoon games. We got the Green Bay Packers going up against the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field. The Green Bay Packers coming off a bye week. The Chicago Bears coming off the most embarrassing loss in their history. Me being a Bears fan, I've sat through some horrendous games, but nothing was worse. I've never turned a Bears game off in the third quarter and a team is in striking distance to take the lead. I've never done that. I've always watched thinking it wouldn't be until midway through the fourth quarter I'll be like, all right, it's over. But I knew it was over at the beginning of the third quarter. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to watch anymore. I already know what's going to happen. A couple of hours later and saw the score, and I was like, yep, go figure. I didn't stay for it. Now, I did go back and watch the highlights, and Caleb Williams did not look good, ladies and gentlemen, and they just went through a firing of their offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, and replaced him with Thomas Brown, if I'm not mistaken. So now we're going to see what happens with Caleb, post new offensive coordinator. On top of that, there's a lot of drama in the Bears locker room. Nate Davis has just gotten, as of this recording, he's just got cut from the team. But then there's a lot of rift going on between Caleb Williams and some of the veterans on the team. Now, I know many people think it's DJ Moore. There's rumors out there that veterans want Tyson Bagent to start for this team. And I'm going to just tell you, that is not a recipe for success. That is a recipe for disaster. I don't think that Tyson Bagent is the answer. I've said this in one episode of my channel. I'm going to continue to say it. Tyson Bagent is not the Chicago Bears savior. You all looked at Caleb Williams as a generational talent, comparing him to Mahomes, comparing him to Aaron Rodgers, comparing him to all of these great quarterbacks. And now you have one sitting in the palm of your hands. And now you want to give up on him after 9 games? Makes absolutely no sense. Stick it out, Bears fans. This is what you wanted. You didn't want Justin Fields because he didn't throw the football enough. He didn't sit in the pocket enough. He ran too much. Now you have Caleb Williams. Beggars can't be choosy. Stick with what you got. Work it out. Peyton Manning went 3-13 his first season, ladies and gentlemen. Caleb Williams is 4-5. Okay? Stick with Caleb Williams. I'm going to continue to teach patience on this channel. And although I think Caleb Williams has not played well at all up until this point, he had a couple of good games here and there, but he still has to show me some improvement with his accuracy. His accuracy has not been good. He's holding on to the football too long. Wide open receivers being passed up. It's just a lot, and I think play calling has to do with it. I also think the offensive line has something to do with it, but everybody deserves the blame, and including Eberflus, who I felt should have got fired right after that game, but Ryan Poles is gonna stick it out again. I don't know what Ryan Poles sees in this guy. Enough of me ranting about that. I got the Green Bay Packers. They are a 6-point favorite on the road, and I think they will win this one easily. Up next, we got the Jaguars on the road against the Lions. This is an easy one. I got the Jags losing to the Lions in Detroit. Detroit coming off a suspenseful win. That one's going to go into the Lions' lore. That comeback against the Texans. But they are a 14-point favorite. I think they win this one easily as well. Up next, we got the Minnesota Vikings on the road against the Tennessee Titans. I got Minnesota in this one. They are a 6-point favorite as well. The Las Vegas Raiders are on the road against the Miami Dolphins. And I think the Miami Dolphins, even though they're 3-6, they're better than what their records show. We all know the story. They've been rolling with their backup quarterback for half their season, and this kind of cost them some wins. But now that they're fully healthy, it looks like they're getting their mojo back. And they could be one of those teams that could creep up and make a late run for a wild card spot. So watch them. I got my eye on the Miami Dolphins. They could sneak up on some people if you're not careful, but they're an 8-point favorite. I got them beating the Vegas Raiders easily. Up next, we got the Patriots going up against the Los Angeles Rams. Patriots coming off an impressive victory over the lowly Chicago Bears in Soldier Field, and the Rams coming off a bad loss to the Miami Dolphins after going into that game pretty hot, winning 3 straight. And now they go on the road against a New England team that plays better at home than they do on the road, aside from that Bears game. But I think the Rams come into New England and win this one. The Rams are a 4.5-point favorite. Up next, we got the Browns on the road against the New Orleans Saints. I got the Saints in this one. That's an easy pick right there. I got the Saints beating the Cleveland Browns. Jameis Winston makes his return to the New Orleans Superdome as he will try to take down his old team. The Saints are a 4.5-point, or actually they are a 1-point favorite to win that one. Up next, we got the Indianapolis Colts on the road against the lowly Jets. I got the Jets winning this one. The Colts are tilting downwards. Even though the Jets lost a heartbreaking game, I don't know. I don't see this Jets team just tanking out the rest of the season. I think they're going to give it one more shot to try to keep this season alive. They haven't lost 8 games or 9 games yet. Once you get to that 8-9 game loss column, it's pretty much your playoff chances are very, very defeated at that point, especially in a loaded AFC. So I got the Jets winning this one at home. They are a 3.5-point favorite. And in the last 12 o'clock game of the afternoon, this is going to be a showdown between the Baltimore Ravens on the road against the Steelers. I got the Ravens in this one. They are a 3-point favorite, but I would not be surprised if the Steelers pull off the win here. Russell Wilson is cooking. He's back to being the old Russell Wilson that everyone's been waiting for. He had a 3-year layoff where he was playing some terrible football, but now he looks like the Seahawks version of Russell Wilson. And hey, you got to take your hat off to Mike Tomlin here with the work that he's done with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are kind of in the same boat as the Chicago Bears. They're getting into the rest of their games are going to be mostly division games because they haven't played any teams in their division yet. And so here, the Pittsburgh Steelers get their first test, and I think they failed that test to the Baltimore Ravens. They, again, are a 3-point underdog to the Ravens. Up next, we got the 3 o'clock games or the late afternoon games. We got the Atlanta Falcons on the road against the Denver Broncos. I got the Broncos in this one. The Falcons, I'm tired of them with their bipolar football. I'm going with the Denver Broncos at home. They are a 2-point favorite. They should have won last week, but again, they missed that chip shot against Kansas City. And I'll get to Kansas City in a minute, but we got the Seattle Seahawks, who are a 6-point underdog to the San Francisco 49ers, and I think the line is correct here. I got the San Francisco 49ers to win this one, and Seattle's tailing downward. I think the Niners will start to get their mojo back and make a late push for a playoff run. Up next, we got the showdown of the late afternoon. We got the Chiefs on the road against the Bills. And the Bills have owned the Chiefs technically in the regular season. It's just in the playoffs, the Bills just forget how to play the Chiefs or forget how to play football when they play the Chiefs. They just lose all thought process when they play the Chiefs in the playoffs. But I think the Bills, if there's any team that can give the Kansas City Chiefs their first loss of the season, I think it's the Bills, and I think the Bills will give them their first loss of the season. This is my first time picking against Mahomes this year, and they've won some very close games, a lot of squeakers, and again, their offense still doesn't look as sharp as I like it. The Bills look like they're clicking on all cylinders, and I think the Bills come out on top here in a very close, low-scoring game, not a high-scoring game, low-scoring game. They are a 2.5-point favorite. Up next, we got the Sunday night game, the Bengals on the road against the Chargers. Now, Bengals coming off a controversial loss to the Ravens, and there was a lot of controversy on that last play with, Joe Burrow getting his face mask pulled on that 2-point conversion. There was a lot of controversy as to why did the Bengals go for 2 against the Ravens, and my mentality is when you're on the road, you go for 2. And when you're at home, you go for the tie. And so I thought Cincinnati made the right decision. The Chargers, they're playing great, inspirational football. And again, they're proving to the Chicago Bears that they made the wrong decision at head coach. Jim Harbaugh was there, Bears fans. Jim Harbaugh was there. I'm going to continue to say it. That's who I wanted as our next Bears head coach. But no, they don't listen to the fans. The Bears organization don't listen to what the fans want. They want to do things their way, and look what happened. Look where they're at, and look what the Chargers are doing. He has an excellent relationship with his quarterback, and you don't hear any snippiness going on or snarkiness going on, or people butting heads or anything like that in the organization. You see a team with a new coach that's rejuvenated with new weapons, new talent, great running game, great defense. And I think the Chargers are one of those dangerous teams that can knock off a top seed in the playoffs. But with all that being said, I got the Bengals winning this one. They are a 1-point underdog. I take the points on that one. I think the Bengals, this is a must win for them. If they want to any type of chance of making it to the playoffs, they have to win this game. And I think they will. I think they go on to beat the Chargers on the road. And then last but not least, we got the Dallas Cowboys at home against the Texans. Texans coming off a heartbreaking loss at home to the Lions. And for all those people trying to diss CJ Stroud after that game, shut up. CJ Stroud will be fine. Great quarterbacks have bad games. It's okay. They have bad games. Jared Goff had a way worse game, but they still won, right? So both quarterbacks didn't play great. All right, it just came down to who was going to make the key plays. Yeah, he lofted a pass that could have been, a wide open receiver. He lofted it a little bit instead of throwing a dart. But hey, man, CJ Stroud will be all right. What a great game to get right. Then having the Dallas Cowboys at home has been a home pinata pretty much at home against teams. They've been getting blown out of the building. I don't know why Dallas come in and watch home games, but they're going to get another beatdown coming up with these Houston Texans. And that is it. Those are my picks, and I'm sticking to them. Cardinals, Panthers, Giants, Bucks. I will predict your fate next week. Until then, I am your sports barista, Rant the Magnificent. When it comes to sports, when it comes to coffee, stay grounded for life. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.